all, I'm Moresby and welcome to another edition of Women's World. Continuing from our first episode on economic empowerment, we bring you some helpful tips to boost yourself financially. Here it is.
Me want pla mama ibeni stop sum up. They got plenty skills he stop inside law. Inside law me pla mama. Na me like he come na encourage you or therapy you or pick him this la something Papa God and put him inside penis long mind blow you me.
Ways in which people can Papua New Guineans can grow themselves or boost themselves financially. I think there are 3 steps in which you can do this. The first step is to be financially literate. So we hear a lot about banking education or financial literacy programs that are being run by financial providers. What it is it's a program that is trained to the general public on basic financial tools. So tools in the sense where how to budget, what is a budget, why you should be budgeting, how to save your money, where to save your money, why should your kids be starting to save as well. So it's having an understanding of these basic financial tools.
You need to ask yourself, why do you want to boost yourself financially? One interesting thing, what's the reason behind you wanting to have more money in your pocket at the end of the day? For many of you living in towns and cities, that financial goal might be for you to buy your first house. For some of you, it might be to improve your lifestyle, to pay your school fees. Some people might want to do it for retirement. So there are so many reasons why you might want to boost yourself financially, and it's really, really important for you to write those reasons down. Really know for yourself why you want to boost yourself financially, and so you have to set goals. Now, the best kind of goals that you can set are what we call SMART goals. These are goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. They have to be specific. So, for example, someone might have a goal as, I want to financially boost myself. That's it. But that goal isn't specific. And the next part of the goal is it has to be measurable. So if you want to boost yourself financially, how? How do you find financially boosting yourself? So, do you want to increase your assets? Do you want to have more income? Do you want to have more cash flow? What are you talking about? It has to be measurable, then it has to be achievable, and it has to be realistic based on your current position where you are today. Because you have to start somewhere. And anything that isn't based on your current standing is basically a fantasy. It's never going to happen. So that's why your goal, whatever you set financially, it has to be based on your current position today. And lastly, the goal that you set, the financial goal that you set, it has to be time-bound. You have to allocate a time frame to it. Is it going to be a short-term goal or a medium-term goal or a long-term goal?
Once you become financially literate, you're able to research on what is being offered out there by other financial service providers in the market. So you are identifying characteristics of products and services that best suit your needs. What you're doing, being financially literate, you are more likely to save. You are also challenging financial service providers to develop products and services to truly meet your needs. And you're also contributing a positive effect towards investment levels as well as economic growth.
It's easier to save 1 kina than it is to make 1 kina. Plenty of Saveman business around the world, it's easier for you to save 1 kina or $1 of your savings, of your income, than it is to make 1 kina. So one of the easiest ways for you to break out of poverty is for you to develop a savings culture. That's where something called a budget, that's where a budget comes in very, very handy. In a budget, you need to assess your current income streams and your current expenses. So inside the budget, you must write them go down. One will wrote the money blue is how it come them. Now one will wrote where you spending more money. So when you look at your budget, first of all, you look at your income. Where is the money coming from? Is it money coming from your fortnight, or suppose you want to market mama? Is it money coming from sales or something to you? Suppose you want to farmer? Is it the sales coming from the sales of your agricultural produce? This like that. the next thing you need to do is look at where you were spending your money or how you were spending your money. And this is one of the most important things for you to look at, is how you spend your money. Now in this, you need to distinguish between your wants and your needs.
So once you become financially literate, you do your research on what is being offered out there, you are then able to make a more informed banking decision. After that, you have to see the environment in which you are managing your finances. Is it supporting you? If so, how? You're looking at access points. How do you have access to your funds when you need it? For example, BSP offers a range of access points. We have BSP mobile banking, we have FPOS, we have ATM machines. These are what we call access points.
Exercise something called delayed gratification. Simply, what is delayed gratification? It means that I'm a must do lo ina do I'm a must today. Losing past time, I'm a must behind time. If you want something today, you look over a nice car or a nice set trousers or nice mobile phone. And if you don't have the money to buy it, no can go kitchen dinner. Tambu. Wait past time you walk. Now once you got actual cash money, now once you can actually afford it, then you go and pay for it.
In order to boost yourself financially, become financially literate. Know these basic financial tools. Do your research. What is being offered out there? What products best suit me? And lastly, having that environment to support you to manage your finances. Not only are you managing yourself, but you are contributing to manage your family as well.
First, set financial goals. Know where you want to go. Second is for you to have an action plan in order for you to achieve your financial goals. And for many, this action plan is reflected in having a personal budget. Also, you look at doing things like setting up your own business. And when you do want to set up your own business, think big, know where you want to go, but start small and start with what you have. And the last tip that I have is for everyone to just develop the right habits.
So planting mama now you mean sabelo skills, planting skills in istabino colosta so you can walk in bilum planting arapla something. Long helping you yet. I think Papua New Guinea you make kissing planting time lo money so you may look him also you may yet now walk lo kamanta.
You're watching Women's World, and now joining us are representatives of the hosts for the 2016 PNG Women's Forum, Bradley Cole from the US Embassy and Michelle HAU'OFA from the PNG Tribal Foundation. We appreciate that the Women's Forum is now in its third year. How important is the Women's Forum, and how important is an open conversation for the progressive state of women in society?
Well, I think it's very important, and we take our responsibility very seriously in hosting this forum. It was sort of the brainchild of my predecessor and our ambassador previously that saw a need to gather the women of PNG. It's obviously the geography of this country makes it very difficult to have everyone meet in one place, so we take this opportunity very seriously. And the previous few years we've had great success bringing the women, having very frank conversations about the topics that matter to them, be the gender-based violence, economic opportunities in Papua New Guinea, also sort of how to become better leaders, how to become good mentors and good mentees to learn from your elders. So that's the themes that we've incorporated, that we've had success with in the past, and we hope that we can do similar good things this year.
Michelle, the PNG Tribal Foundation, exciting news that this year you will co-host with the US Embassy for the PNG Women's Forum. How important is this partnership, and what can we learn and bring to make this successful?
We're really excited that, that we are partnering with the US Embassy and also the Department for Community Development. With the Tribal Foundation, our strength is in our partnerships. You know, we really believe that to get good traction with our programs, we need to engage as many sectors of society as we can. And I think that speaks to the power of our partnership, government, the diplomatic side, and ourselves as an NGO, and a Papua New Guinean NGO at that. There's great strength in that. So we've been able to, you know, draw on all our different strengths and come up with a really powerful program over the 3 days. And it starts with our theme, which this year is Women Empowering Women. Her success is your success.
Excellent. The forum is 1 week away, but if we could shed light on the previous forums, 2014 and 2015, there were important documents from them, the observations and recommendations. Can you shed light on some of the recommendations from the last 2 forums?
Yeah, that was one of the first things I did. This is my first time either hosting or attending a women's forum, so I took the time to sort of read through the documents, and I noticed a lot of very valid, very reasonable requests from the women of PNG. Better schools, safer schools for their girls, better healthcare facilities, better criminal response to gender-based violence. A lot of things that were very important and remain very important in Papua New Guinea. Unfortunately, I don't think that the women of PNG have seen the level of progress that they might want to have seen in that year. So we've decided, you know, to take a little bit of a different tack this year. And what we're doing is trying to put the onus on our participants. So one of the examples from the United States is President Clinton, or former President Clinton, has the Clinton Global Initiative. And at these meetings, if you want to attend, you can't just buy a ticket. You have to come with a pledge. So at previous meetings that he's held, you've had Richard Branson of Virgin Atlantic has said, okay, I will have my fleet, 15% of my fleet will be flying on biofuels in the next 5 years. Okay, great. Richard, you can come to our meeting now. We want to do the same thing with this women's forum. So one of the examples that I sort of really enjoy talking about is we have a security guard named Helen at our embassy. She came to the forum on her own, and then when she went home the next time, she shared all that she learned about cervical cancer with women in her village. That did not cost her anything, didn't cost anybody anything actually. She was already planning to go home. It was just a matter of her time and taking the initiative. And I like to think there's 20 women in her village that now know more about their health than would have otherwise. So we want to look for those sort of small wins that we can get. And in order to do that, we're bringing in speakers and people to run workshops that will help the women. If your desire is to end gender-based violence in Papua New Guinea, while that's a very, very important goal and one we fully support, it may be difficult for one woman to tackle in a year. So what we want to do is say, all right, what can we do on a local level? You know, in the U.S. we have the phrase, think globally, act locally. So what can you do today when you get off the plane that flies you back to Lae, that flies you back to Buka, that flies you back to Madang, to Goroka? What can you do in your town, in your village, in your family, and really get to that micro level to inspire the change that I think the women of PNG both need and are capable of catalyzing.
Now, pledge is something really new to Papua New Guinea. How can we learn from the pledge which Tribal Foundation has shared also?
Well, I'll just touch a little bit on what Brad referred to, and you asked about the recommendations. The recommendations that came back, they're fantastic, but they're very long-term, and they require a lot of resources and a lot of background work to make things happen. So while that's going on, then we brought, as Brad said, we brought it back locally, and so the women take ownership of how they're going to go back and change their communities, one person at a time, one life at a time. With as you rightly said, the pledge, with our film we have a pledge where if you want to make a difference in your community, in standing up against violence, you'll be able to get a bracelet like this, which is a physical reminder that you want to sinisimpasin. But you also sign a pledge, again, a physical reminder. It's laminated, you sign it with a marker. And it just reminds you that, you know, in front of my community, in front of the women and children and the men in my community, that I pledged to do something. And these physical reminders, Michael, you know, very, very important to us as human beings. It just reminds us of a time and a place where, after the emotion has gone and after the euphoria of being in an environment like that has gone, we all need physical reminders of what we promised to do. And then, as Brad said, they were able to take these ideas home and share them. That's the really important thing. Share them with their communities and help to build up other women in their communities.
Now, a pledge makes a difference. A pledge is everlasting. On the nomination form, there was a very interesting question posed to women. What are the main challenges of women in Papua New Guinea? Michelle, from your standpoint, from your experience and progress at the PNG Tribal Foundation, what can you highlight?
Do you know, Michaeline, I think the most pressing issue with all of our communities, and not just our women, but especially our women, is the matter of gender-based violence. You know, the statistics show that it affects a disproportionate number of women in our society. And when you look at that, that means that it affects the children and the men around them as well. So that was one of the main issues that have come out. And as Brad said before, we've taken all of these concerns that the women have put in the nomination forms, and that's how we've shaped the 3-day program. So it's not just us saying, you know, we think that we should talk about all of these issues. We've actually listened to the women who've applied and looked at the things that they want to talk about. Gender-based violence is high on the agenda, as is economic empowerment. And you know, how do women in the rural areas, how do they tap into big business, say, or how do they just make business work for them and their families? So these are real issues that affect our women.
And welcome to Women's World, and tonight we bring you an update on the PNG Women's Forum. We have here Mr. Bradley Coley from the US Embassy, Gender Specialist, and Ms. Michelle HAU'OFA from the PNG Tribal Foundation. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Now, it sounds like there will be a lot of interesting and exciting changes this year. What can we expect from the 2016 PNG Women's Forum?
Well, I guess we can start with our keynote speakers, and we're very excited that Dr. Cecilia Nembo has agreed to be our first keynote speaker. As you know, she's been recently appointed to the Divine Word University, and we were so proud of her achievements, and we're really pleased that she'll be able to come and talk to the women of Papua New Guinea via the forum about her journey and, you know, what it took to get to where she is today. So we've got Dr. Cecilia, we've got Michelle Lucero, who's the Chief Administrative Officer and Legal Counsel for Children's Hospital in Colorado. And that's one of the top 5 in the States. You know, they have a budget of $1 billion, so, you know, they're quite a substantial outfit themselves, and Michelle's kind of number 3 in that outfit. So, you know, and she's a Latina, so she's had her own issues as a woman of, you know, how do I say, an ambitious woman who wants to achieve things not just for her, but for her family. And so she'll be able to share from her experience how she got to where she is today. And, you know, she continues to give back, as we find that most women in these positions do. They really try to support the women around them. And maybe you'd like to speak about our last
Yeah, so speaker. The other person we're bringing back, her name is Saran Kaba-Jones, who's actually here in Papua New Guinea at the end of November last year. Loved it so much. Her first, you know, her question immediately was, when can I come back? So we're bringing her back. She has done some projects in Africa with water projects. She's won various awards. She's been at Davos. She's been up and coming. I think she's one of the 100 most powerful women in Africa, named by EMTV, and some really great awards. And she worked very well with the women. She's still stayed in email contact with a lot of the women she worked with here in Papua New Guinea. So she's thrilled to come back, and again sort of shares that focus on what can you do today? What can you do in your village with your current resources? What can we make change with today? So we're excited about that. Another big thing we're excited about about is this is our sort of first big event for our new ambassador, Catherine Ebert-Gray. So she'll be speaking throughout the forum, presenting awards, and she's very, very excited to do it.
Will we have any workshops alongside this forum?
Yes, so again, like I mentioned, Saran will be running some workshops on sort of how do you take your big idea and make it something practical. Michelle Lucero will be doing some on speaking and communicating like a leader. How to communicate, how to build your brand, which, you know, I think a lot of people think is a business tool, but really any of us have a brand. You know, what do you stand for? What should you be known for? We're also doing some workshops on health. So again, trying to keep that focus on what women can do in their homes today, and that might be as simple as taking the time to teach your sisters and your daughters how to do self-exams for breast cancer or screenings like that. Again, that we can have a practical impact today when you get off the plane back in, you know, wherever you're headed to.
How many people are we expecting to participate?
Over 300 women, and most of these will come from different parts of Papua New Guinea, and that's the most exciting thing, that it's, you know, it's not just Moresby-centric, which, you know, sometimes tends to happen. Everything is all about Port Moresby, but the Women's Forum, not just this year, but the past 2 years, is very much about how do we engage the women in other areas.
Be a little bit biased, but we also have some men coming. So
that's true.
You know, that's something we've heard a lot is, you know, women are important, but without the male allies, it's not going to take it as easily. So that's something I'm particularly biased towards. But yeah, that's something we're also excited about.
On that topic, how would you encourage men, especially men in advocacy for violence against women? How important is the participation of men in Papua New Guinea?
I think, you know, we all have to lead by example, and with women with gender-based violence, what we don't want to do is sort of have a situation where we're preaching to the choir, to use that term. I don't think there's any woman that's going to come to the forum that needs to be convinced that gender-based violence is both bad and a problem that needs to be tackled here in Papua New Guinea. So it's not about changing the hearts and minds of the women there, it's about empowering them to change the hearts and minds of the people actually that are perpetrating this abuse. So I think that for men, it's important to view, you know, part of your role as a man is to protect your wife and protect your daughter from, you know, violence. And, you know, that's your most basic role as a father and as a husband. Protect your wife and daughter and make sure, you know, no harm befalls them, and certainly don't be the perpetrator of that sort of violence.
For the men and women who can't attend this forum, we hope to share highlights of the event next week, three-day event. What key message can you leave for our viewers tonight?
I'll talk about the theme. Mm-hmm. As I've mentioned before, it's women empowering women. Her success is your success. And for us as a team, we found that very important because, you know, there's so many generations of women who have something to give in terms of our development aspirations. You know, I'm of an older generation, and we've got some upcoming, you know, young women like yourself, and then we've got the older mamas from the villages who everyone has something to give. But the thing is, we need to work together. We need to empower each other, and that empowerment allows us to do the developmental changes that we all want to see, and not try to push someone down or, you know, be jealous of your position and not want to encourage someone to come up. That's what hinders development. So what we want to encourage our women and our men is to say we really, really need to work together. And when you succeed, I succeed, and when I succeed, she succeeds, and our whole community succeeds. So that's the key message that we want our women to go away with. And as Brad said, take these messages and take them back to the communities and really make sure that these messages really get drilled down to the people that matter. You know.
That's it from us tonight. It has been a pleasure. Join us on our Facebook page for daily updates or message us with news in your world. Until next time, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your viewing on your #1 to watch, EMTV.